From time to time, we get inquiries and requests from customers who are running Microsoft Dynamics 365 or Power Apps. And what they want to do is send text messages out as reminders or as thank yous or whatever automatically and also manually. I mean, some call centers like to be able to use like a single number, and everybody uses this number, and they send text messages out through their CRM, right? It's very common to need to do that, especially these days. And so naturally, if you Google around a little bit, you'll find any number of companies that are third-party platforms that are happy to sell a service, an ongoing service on a monthly basis to provide that sort of integration. But actually, you can build it yourself. And you can do that. You can roll up your sleeves and do it yourself using Power Automate and any number of very low-cost, sort of bare bones platforms that allow you to simply send text messages as long as they have a Power Automate connector. Now, there's about 8 or 9 of them that are immediately available of those kinds of companies, and ClickSend is the one that we decided to go with because in this last project, because it's just so easy. It's so easy. We were sending text messages within 15 minutes from the platform itself, but with the Power Automate work, we had a fully functional, beautiful system running in less than a day. And that was with lots of automation and lots of different functions and all kinds of things. So I'm not affiliated with, ClickSend other than a customer. So I'm just saying that we've tried other companies and we had a much more difficult time because of compliance and this and that. ClickSend is just a lot easier to get going, and you can literally get sending for free, and then it's like $1.61 for an SMS phone number and something like $3 a month for an MMS number. In this application, we used an SMS number, so it was just really simple. So we recommend ClickSend. You would just basically, the way it works is you click Get Sending for free, or you sign up or whatever, and then you go in and you create yourself a phone number, and you choose either SMS or MMS. MMS is multimedia, of course, and it's like $3 a month, and SMS is $1.60. It's 160 character limit, and it doesn't include images and things like that. So that's all you need is the API key to begin sending through Power Automate. And what you do is when you start to build your Power Automate, you create a connector with ClickSend. Create that connector, and then you're golden. You can just use the connector, no problem. That's true of all of Power Automate anyway. Whenever you build a connector, you have to authenticate just one time. The most important thing is just to get the platform running here, and then head over to Power Automate. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new flow, an automated cloud flow. And this is just going to be a very simple appointment reminder. Now, needless to say, if you're not using Microsoft Dynamics 365 or Power Apps, you can use Outlook. You can literally use Outlook if you're just using Outlook for your reminders or for your appointments. But I work in Power Apps every day, or Microsoft Dynamics 365. So naturally, that's where I'm going to gravitate to, and naturally, that's what this video is really about. Is going to be Power Apps and Microsoft Dynamics. So I'm going to go right to the Dataverse. That's my basic connector. And I'm going to use the appointment entity. So it's when a row is added, modified, or deleted, and I'm going to create that. So this is an automated flow that's going to happen when you create an appointment. Now, needless to say, in the solution that we did as part of the project, we did added and modified because we had to have a whole bunch of logic for when things get rescheduled and so forth and so on. So there's some complexity there. We're not going to go into that in this particular video. We're going to keep it really straightforward and easy. Basically, an appointment gets added 24 hours before the appointment. The person who is who has been invited to that appointment is going to be notified by text. Table name, of course, is appointment. Scope, in this particular case, of course, is going to be the organization so that everybody in the organization can use this flow. Then click New Step. Now, the first thing we have to do, if we think about this a little bit, because we do want to personalize the text message. So we want the text, first of all, we have to get the phone number of the person who's going to get the text, right? The person who's been invited to the appointment. Secondly, the person who owns the contact or the person who owns the appointment. In this particular case, we've got people setting appointments for other people. So we're gonna use the person who owns the contact, not the person who owns the appointment. But we want this to be personalized a little bit to explain who the appointment is with. So we have to get a couple of records. So the first record we're going to get is the contact. And again, this is another bit of complexity. If we're only using contacts in this system right now to set appointments, we're not setting appointments with leads. We qualify the lead before the appointment. That a lot of companies don't do that, but that's what this company does, and that's what we did. So that means we're only setting appointments for contacts. Now, if you have the lead or even the account, then you would probably want to find out what the type of regarding object is, whether it's lead, account, or appointment, or even opportunity for that matter. And then what you'd need to do is you'd need to do a conditional and then go get the right record. Make sure you get the right person who's actually invited, So we're using the regarding object. Again, it's a lot of explanation here, but we're just going to keep it really simple. There would be other things you would need to do if you were using things like activity parties. So again, Microsoft Dataverse, what are we going to get? We're going to get the regarding contact, right? So it's basically get row by ID. So we're going to choose contacts because that's the person that we are setting our appointments to. It's the contact. And the row ID, of course, is the regarding object of the appointment. That means that we're creating these appointments on the contact, the little plus sign in the timeline. All right, so now we're getting, and what I like to do, just best practice, is rename these things and explain what we're doing. So we're getting the contact. Again, we also want to retrieve the sort of friendly name, the full name of the person who owns the contact, so we can tell in the text message the person who they're meeting with, right? And in this case, it's the owner of the contact. So that's another thing we have to do, is we have to go get the owner of the contact. So now we're going to go ahead and get row by ID again. And this time I'm going to go ahead and rename this. I'm going to say get owner, get contact owners. Be very specific in your flows this way. Of course, the table is users. I'm going to get a user. What user? Well, it's actually going to be the owner of the contact. So we've already got the contact. So here's the get the contact. So we're just going to try to find the owner of that contact. Got to be a little careful here. As you can see, the owner can come up with the appointment, but we definitely want the owner of the contact, not the appointment. So we're getting the contact owner. So now we've got a couple of records. Well, that's all we need for the most part for what we're planning to do. So what we want to do then is we want to wait until one day before the start date. So there is a nice feature in Power Automate called schedule. So like a built-in function, more or less. There's delay, and there's delay until. Delay won't work because we don't know how far ahead we're setting these appointments. It could be weeks, could be months, could be 2 days, 3 days. We're going to go delay until. Now, delay until takes one simple little thing. It's a timestamp. It's like whatever that timestamp is. So what we need to do is we need to find the start date of the actual appointment. So we're going to go start. And we have to be careful here. We got get contact owner, get contact. There must be another one. There it is right there. It's start time. And this is when a row is added. And this is getting the appointment. So start time. But think about this for a minute. It's not all we can do. We have to do a little more than that. Because that would mean that they're going to get the notification when they for the due date of the appointment. That doesn't work. We want it one day before the appointment, right? So what we have to do is we have to take this value and then we have to like subtract a day. So the best way to do that is with a function in Power Automate, and it's right here. It's called add days. So to make this function work, I'm going to go real slow here so you can, in case you're just starting with Power Automate, just understand what you do. You put that in and you hover over it and you see what the actual value is for the whole start time itself, right? You can even do this. You can even click here and you can click peak code and you could actually copy this right there because that's the actual value. That is the value of the start date. And then you wrap that value in a function. And the function, again, as you see here, is add days. So the add days function takes, the value and then a comma and then a number. Now, if I add days and I put 7, it would be a week after. To get before, you have to have a negative number in there. So it's -1. So there's no such thing as subtract days. That's not a function. So there's add days. That's how you use it. Copy this in, and what you do is you remove this completely, and then you go to expression. That's your function. So you paste that function in. If you click OK and it takes, it's most likely fine, syntactically speaking. So now you've got your delay. So now you're delayed until this moment. So what are we supposed to do? Well, we're going to send a text message. So we click New Step. We find our connector. You can see what we got. We got ClickSend SMS. We also have other things. We have ClickSend MMS. So we can do all kinds of things here, but all we want to do is just actually send an SMS message. That's all we have to. That's all we want to do. So we just find our send SMS. And then here you have to look at this a little bit carefully. If you're working in your own country, right? If it's local, then you don't have to put any kind of special format, But if you're sending overseas, then it does have to be formatted. So you have to have a plus sign and then a country code and then the full number. We don't have to do that. So we're just going to click here and we're going to look for the mobile number that we're going to be sending. Again, that's going to be off the contact. So there's get contact owner, that's not the one we want. There's get contact, that's the mobile phone that we want, right? Because that's the 2, that's who we're sending it to. And then once again, we've got our characters. So let's take a look at this. We've got to worry about, this is SMS, so we got 160 characters. So we've decided to use this format. So I'm going to go ahead and click this here. And I use my handy TextFX tools to find out how many characters we got, word count. So there's 80 characters. And remember, SMS does count spaces. So there may be 69 characters with no spaces, but SMS does count, so it's 80 characters. Now that's half of the limit, so to speak, for SMS, or before you start sending multiple. So we feel pretty good about this. This looks pretty good. I have this deliberately on December 12, 21, so forth and so on. And this is my name, but it would have to be a really long name, because this is going to be another variable, a really long name to get anywhere near 160. So this seems pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and take this. We're going to copy that, and we're going to paste it right in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to replace these with variables. So right there, with, right, I want the full name of the owner of the contact, right? So I want full name of the owner of the contact. So it says get owner, get contact owner, full name. There it is. Friendly reminder, you have an appointment with the owner of the contact at. And of course the at is going to be the start date. So I got start time, got to try to find start time here. There it is. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to save this. And if it saves fine without any errors, then it's just going to work. So naturally what we need to do here is test this. So we'll go ahead and click test. when you test these types of automatic flows, you have to click manually, and then you click test. And then the test, of course, is to go over to Dataverse and to add an appointment. And so we'll add this appointment, and the main thing is to add it a day ahead, or at least a day ahead. And the best thing to do would be to, if you want to test it in the next 10 minutes, you add it to a time 24 hours from now, minus about 10 minutes, or ahead about 10 minutes. So it's about 10 minutes to 11 right now. So I should get this in about 10 or 12 minutes on my phone. And what I'll do is I will post as the last frame the results of that, or I'll bring it in. Maybe I'll just pause this video right now, and while it's waiting, and then I'll bring it in as the last frame. And here we have it. Something you might look at here is you'll notice that the format of the date is a specific way. If that is not to your liking, then of course you can localize the format with a function in Power Automate. Pretty simple. Hope this helps. Thank you.